A windy, cloudy, cool afternoon at legendary Road America in central Wisconsin. And it is time for Pirelli GT4 America Sprint action presented by Window World. And this is the traditional sprint format, 50 minutes of competition, one driver per car, no pit stops. And this format this season has produced some absolutely superb racing. And based on what we've seen in qualifying, you take a look at the sharp end of the grid here. There are 5 different makes in that top 5, Cal. This is great parity, and here's a look at it. Pay attention to Ian James in that beautiful Panos. He's won 4 in a row here. Swept in 17, swept in 18.
Yeah, and he put minimal laps on his tires there in qualifying earlier today, so he should be in pretty good shape. He feels he's vulnerable at the end of the long straightaway stretches here. There's 3 of those he's got to defend from, but right now he has a 19-point lead in this championship.
He is going to be enjoying every opportunity here, but this is a track that a lot can unfold at, no question about that, and it's a deep, deep field. On the pole in the AM category, the brilliantly yellow number 7 Volt Lighting Park Place Porsche of Alan Brynjolfsson out-dueling Drew Stavely in the G3 Ian Lacey Racing Ford Mustang for that pole position. Surprise here after a big win at Watkins Glen is Jared Andretti, mired back in 9th overall on this grid, Cal.
Yeah, I think it is a surprise just because we've seen Jarrett put in such tremendous performances along with the Andretti Autosport team led by Robin Pemberton. But it's a tough racetrack, and if you miss it a little bit with a setup over 4 miles, it results to a lot of time on the stopwatch.
That's a good point. You got 14 corners here. You're off by a tick in each one. It adds up with this length of track. Our official safety vehicle, the beautiful Acura NSX, leading the field out on their pace lap. In terms of the points championship, James has a decent lead, by no means settled in this one. And you got to feel for Spencer Pumpelly in a way, because you look back on the start to the season they had and then what happened in VIR where they got nothing. If they'd had some points out of that, this would have been virtually a dead heat at best, or at worst here coming in. So he's a little bit anxious here and sits 4th today on the grid.
Yeah, and I think he felt that he really didn't nail qualifying, so he said, I've got a little bit more to offer in the race. But again, he said, I'm not sure it's going to be enough. But, you know, Spencer's so much experience along with the TRG group, and they'll go to work hard on this racetrack. We take a look at it. Just over 4 miles, 6.5 kilometers in length, break us down into 3 different sectors. First sector is really all about top speed. You need top speed up into that brake zone for turn 1. Very fast right-hander, much lower speed for turn 3, and that completes the run down into turn 5. That's a big brake zone. We've seen action already there today on the opening lap. And then that middle sector, that really is very demanding and challenging in terms of the corners and the layout. That long right-hander right in the middle of the circuit there, that's the carousel turn. You try and get through that cleanly and then just hold your breath through the kink. And then a big run down into Canada Corner. And some tricky brake zones, and really works the tires hard around this race circuit over 50 minutes.
It presents virtually every type of corner, every type of challenge you can imagine, and does them all generally at pretty solid speed. This is a fast racetrack.
It's a fast racetrack. It's one that the drivers absolutely love. It will be towards the top, if not the top, of every driver's favorite circuit list. I know when I came here in the mid-'80s for the first time, I just fell in love with the place, the ambiance of the circuit in general and the surrounding areas down by the lake. And just it's just a fun place to visit. Love coming back every single year. And for these drivers, well, they're in for a treat right now as they have some hard, fast-paced action and one of the best in the world.
And interesting, this track, you've got 4 really, and I'm counting the run from turn 6 down to turn 8, 4 high-speed sections into very tight braking zone. This place could be a bit torturous on brakes.
It can. You need the balance right, and they can certainly work on that throughout the course of the weekend, but you need the confidence. If you're getting down into those brake zones, which are, as you said, very demanding and very critical to a lap time around here, you can't be having any problems. Otherwise, you're not going to be quick. This is all about confidence around this racetrack. You need the grip, and Shane Lewis has been on top form this weekend. The team have come back from that big summer break seemingly much better off. This is a racetrack that suits the Camaro. They were strong at Watkins Glen in terms of the BOP categorization. Spoke to Jimmy Fraser just before the off today, and he said, we've got a good race car here. Hopefully it'll stay dry.
Yeah, and I mean, Shane Lewis was fast here. Gar was super quick. They both were at Watkins Glen. This is going to be a fun one to watch unfold here. Interesting to see too what Ian James can do from that outside front row spot. If you get the right kind of start, you can just round off the outside of 1. See how racy he gets here in the early going. But nice field here. And the late addition of Andrew Davis in that Kelly Moss Road and Race Audi, I mean, he put it right up into the top 5 in that qualifying run. You know, he's sort of the wild card in this, isn't he?
He is, and he's used to running around those guys right at the front of the pack. So this should be an interesting race. I think for Ian James, he worries about the end of the straightaway, but with a slow start to this run,
yes,
he might be all right up into turn 1 on the first lap at least.
All right, safety vehicle is in. And it's all a matter of Shane Lewis now paces the field up the hill. They look lined up nicely. The stewards have said, if we see a headlight, we're okay. If we see a grill, we're not. They look pretty good here. Looking for the green flag, it flies. We are racing at Road America. And on the start, once the green flies, no matter where you are, you can go racing. And Lewis dropping the hammer early, but Michael Cooper, a mega start as well, jumps up into second, and Pumpelly down to the inside, slips through to third.
Super aggressive there. I thought Robinson was going to run on those row 2 guys, and here we see Cooper now looking to the inside. He's going to try and make some moves early. We've seen it before this year. Cooper gets up to speed, and that McLaren does really, really quickly.
He does, and both of those guys up at the front, Lewis and Cooper, compromised their entrance into 3, and it looked like Spencer might have a decent run, close enough to maybe get some kind of a tow here, but you can see he just tails off a little bit there. Cooper, though, looks to the inside. Lewis covers late. Cooper pops outside, and behind him, look at this move, 2 abreast into 5.
Look at the over-under. Cooper gets to the inside on the run up the hill. He's going to take it in there super deep. He's going to be aggressive. You can bet on it.
And does. And Lewis recognizing it, especially after the contact they had at the Glen, he may have been a little bit more gentlemanly than otherwise.
Not sure Shane was aware that Pumpelly had got a run to his flank as they exited turn 6 there. Davis looks to the inside on Ian James. Ian James just sits back and watches this top trio battle it out.
This is going to be an interesting dynamic because we've seen James, he'll drop off a bit, not worry about it, but he does it when he doesn't have any real pressure from behind. Well, he does here. He's got Davis and he's got Jared Andretti. Looks like they got the handle on things a little bit in that McLaren. He's got himself around Gar Robinson. So at this stage of the race, I'm just not sure that Ian James is going to have much place to relax a little bit.
No, he's got a lot of really tough competition right around him. Pumpelly to the inside on Shane Lewis. Cooper's taken off a little bit. Not the first lap that our pole sitter was expecting or wanting.
Oh, look at this. Oh, now Shane going to try and get back under Spencer up into the Billy Mitchell turn. Does he make it work? No.
Nowhere to go with that, and now he has to defend even more vigorously on Ian James, who gets a bit of a run at him. Brilliant open lap by Jared Andretti. Now he's under attack from the second of the Ranch 74 Camaros, Gar Robinson. Stavely right with him.
Yeah, Stavely has gone around, picked up the lead in the AM category, and in fact, the AM pole sitter has dropped back into the 4th spot at this stage. Brynjolfsson, that bright yellow car, you can see is faded just a little bit, and look at this. Oh! Maybe a little touch with Andretti.
Working up on the wheels of the endurance auto warranty McLaren there.
Well, we've talked about that all year, is that he wastes no time going fast.
Well, his background is 10-minute sprint races. You don't have time to think about it. You got to get on with the program, and we're seeing that on these opening 2 laps. Great stuff. Good to see his dad, John, here as well.
Yep, absolutely. By the way, Jeff Courtney had gone with Stavely, jumped up into second, and Tony Gaples has gone around Courtney and is now sitting. I think he just made a pass and now sits second. He does in the AM category. Tony Gaples, happy to be home.
Yeah, this is his home track. He loves being here, and he's right in the thick of the championship. Sits in 3rd position in his class right now, so could be a big weekend for him.
Gaples, or excuse me, Stavely actually tried to do something with Andrew Davis there. It balked him a little bit. Gaples almost had an opportunity to sneak back through there. You see there's Courtney in that Maserati, the Kenda orange-black entry. Behind him, the pole sitter, the bright yellow Bolt Lighting Park Place entry of Brynjolfsson. Faded to 4th early.
Home race for Jeff Courtney. Great to see him back. Had a good run at Watkins Glen. This is his home circuit. Lives in Milwaukee. Less than an hour drive from his bed.
Got his first win in this series here last year. That propelled him when he got to Watkins Glen for the season finale with a couple of great runs. Got him a championship. Delighted to be back home for sure right now. And all right, Robinson working the outside of Ian James. Davis watching from behind, then Stavely in that number 12 Mustang.
Awesome battle here. A lot of jockeying around between some really experienced and fast drivers here, but Cooper, what an opening couple of laps he's put together. Got the track position and has extended the lead a little bit. What does Pumpelly have on the long green flag run?
Looking on the lens of that camera, Cal. A couple of little spots of moisture. They weren't sure, honestly. All the forecasts don't know if we're going to get rain or not. We could, but it may not. We have to keep an eye on that, obviously. But, you know, for Cooper, one, the McLaren, this is the track where that car should shine this year for sure. And two, after what happened at the Glen, after he had the brilliant season he'd had up to that, you just knew he was going to be on form and up on that wheel. Yeah, they had some technical issues at Watkins Glen, unfortunately. Otherwise, we could have been talking about Michael Cooper leading this championship coming into this race this weekend, and now he's got the lead of the race. But there's still 4 rounds to go. There's 100 points on the table. Cooper sits in third, 22 back of Ian James. So a couple of strong results here this weekend. It could be really tight by the time we get to Vegas. Oh, Gar Robinson looks to the inside now on Ian James. James is just so strong in those brakes on when he needs to be. Probably using up a bit more of his tire than he'd like to right now. I think he'd like to be in a little bit of a gap in the traffic and do his normal, just sit around for about 75% of the race and then go strong at the finish. All right, here's another look at the start. You can see the jockeying there by Cooper and Pumpelly getting underneath Ian James. Jared Andretti in the middle of the pack making some moves. Yeah, and then this, Cooper to the inside. Lewis covered it. Cooper popped to the outside. Enormous pressure on Shane Lewis, our pole sitter here for a few corners, and then this one just times it nicely, just gives himself enough room to tuck the nose back to the inside and just about gets that track position where he can be super aggressive, get late on the brakes and get the lead. It got deep into 6. Lewis tried to go with him and realized, nope, he's just going to park me if I don't. And he had to move in a hurry or Spencer was going to come up along the outside. Wow. It's a great opening lap. Settling back in here. I think right now, the question that has to be answered is, does Shane Lewis, now he's back in clean air and settle back in, can he find the rhythm and the pace back in that Camaro to go after and chase down these 2 leaders? He's got no pressure from behind. Jared Andretti up to 4th. Ian James, our championship leader, right behind him. I think this is what Shane Lewis needs. Just settle back in. Car's been quick all weekend long. Still 43 minutes on the board. TMB talking to him. A lot of experience on that pit wall. He needs to get his groove back, so to speak, because he certainly has had it all weekend long, as you pointed out. Spencer making little inroads into the lead that Cooper had established. Spencer Pumpelly now a second adrift of Cooper. Then another 1.5 seconds back to Lewis. And then a bigger gap to Andretti here. Oh, and look at this. Robinson again working the outside. He might be there. He did. Yeah, watch Davis. He's going to get a run here on both of them. And Stavely. Davis there in that silver Audi. He'll be loving this racing. Andrew's such a solid competitor, really quick. Great team leader for anyone who wants to run in this category of racing. You know, Stavely's got a big chunk of points clear on Alan Brynjolfsson, and looks like he's trying to do what he can to try and close things out this weekend. By just being super aggressive, going to the front, especially with Brynjolfsson having dropped back to 4th in class. Yeah, he's got a 63-point lead coming in here, so 75 at the end of the day would seal it with 3 rounds to go at the checkered flag this afternoon. A twitch there from Ian James in that patriotic liveried Panos Avezzano. See Ian James working the car this hard this early in a race typically. I think he's found himself in a spot that he can't just kind of control things. He's being pushed and harried all of the way. Can't seem to find that nice little position in this race so far. I think it's just the depth of the field that showed up here has sort of forced his hand a little bit and said push a little early. You know, and Stavely right there, guy who's impressing me massively is Tony Gaples. You know, he had a good qualifying run. He's not known as a great qualifier. He races well. Oh, that's so close. A touch, just a tink there, nothing serious, but That's how hard the race is. But Tony Gaples is staying with this lead group.
Yeah, no, he's such a great racer.
Yeah.
He's not. He'll admit he's not the best qualifier in the world, but you throw the green flag, and suddenly Tony always seems to move forward.
He qualified third here, which is a good qualifying effort, and works his way into second there. He stays in third. He's right there. Look at that. Stavely trying the outside of Davis. Again, Stavely, an AM-rated driver. But he is up on the wheel. Nope, not quite.
Good racing, though.
Yeah, it is. Fabulous racing.
The guys are just so savvy. They just got that awareness around them. They know when they need to give it a little bit more room, and when they can take the line. You saw from Andrew Davis there. He recognized the fact that Stavely was not on his flank. Used all of the exit speed to maximize the radius through that corner.
A little bit of side-by-side between those two. That was allowed Gaples to get a great run on them here.
And McLaren's once again looking good. Take another look at this action here as we come out of Canada corner. Watch the run that Gar Robertson gets on Jared Andretti. Touch to the inside. Jared's just, he's stubborn. I love the way he goes racing. He's not dirty at all, but he will not give an inch. Just a very determined competitor. I think that just comes from his background. He's used to running in close quarters.
Oh,
you know, every single moment of a race. That's the way he was brought up. And he's just not intimidated at all.
If you're dealing sprint cars around, bravado is not an issue for you.
Nope.
And he has adapted very, very well into road racing, bringing that level of just instant speed.
He's versatile, just like his dad was, John.
Yep.
Successful in all forms of racing that they seem to compete in. Big run by Gar on the McLaren.
Ready defending. Down into Canada once again. He may have got a little wide that time. Gar gets that same run, but he gets a much better one, and he's through.
Yeah, that was nice. Just nicely timed. Great racecraft there by Gar Robinson. He survived and dodged a big one this morning when he spun exiting this very corner, the final corner, try to put a lap together and just narrowly missed the wall on the right-hand side. Didn't put together a good enough lap to put him up towards the sharp end of the grid like his teammate, but he's having a nice run here.
Oh, and Davis getting a big run on Ian James, and Stavely going to push right on by. For Ian James, that's 2 spots. He's fallen back.
James in trouble? I mean, I know that the Pano's not strong at the end of the straightaways, but he's normally pretty good up until that point.
Exactly. And keep in mind, this is important for Ian James. Stavely getting through, even though Stavely is an AM competitor, the pros are scored on the overall. So that's a point-taking pass by Stavely.
Yeah, this could be a big point swing. See another look at how Gar Robinson sets this up. Pretty much a cut and paste from the previous lap. It just gets alongside a little bit earlier. As Jared just runs a little bit wider that time, scrambling for grip. Couldn't get the power down and is defenseless to resist that challenge from Gar Robinson.
Oh, and Tony Gaples has just gone by Ian James as well.
I think James may be in trouble.
There might be a miss here. Listening to the car, and it doesn't. You're not hearing any. I'm not hearing any kind of a miss.
This is not what Ian James can afford with his nearest competitors, Pompelli and Cooper there, running first and second.
As we're watching this great battle unfolding, Tony Gaples is on the charge here. Let's check in with Ryan.
Yeah, Tony Gaples is on a charge. Michael Cooper had a brilliant start. He's been leading this thing since the first couple of quarters of the race. Ray Sorensen is the team manager for Black Dog Speed Shop. Off to a decent start, safe to say.
Yeah, we'll take that. It's a pretty good start for us so far. Obviously a long way to go, but we like what we're seeing so far. We just have to see if we can stay there and see what this weather brings.
Yeah, that is the big question. But going back to the big summer break that the teams in this series had, you guys took advantage of that and tested here at Road America. It's probably worth noting that this was the first year for the team with these McLarens. So how beneficial was that test, and are you reaping some reward from having some track experience with these cars?
Well, I think it's always helpful for us as we're learning the car to kind of go have a couple of days here to kind of throw some ideas at it, kind of see what works and what doesn't. And I think we had a pretty good successful test. So hopefully we'll get the reward from it today. We really need it.
If the rain does come, what does that do for you guys? How are these cars in wet conditions, or do you have that experience yet?
We've never run these things in the rain, so but I'm confident the guys are good in the rain. Tony and Michael both like the rain, so not worried about it. But we'll just have to see if it holds or not.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
And I did want to give an update as well. You guys were talking about Ian James and the Panos. I had a chance to briefly check in with them. Doesn't sound like there's anything really amiss with the race car. They're talking about a straight line speed disparity, and that's really what they're battling by the sound of things.
All right, thanks very much, Ryan. And yeah, and we have seen that. You've talked about it, Cal, during the course of the season. Late down the straight, it kind of hits that little bit of a wall, but normally they get out of the corners and halfway down the straight really well, and that doesn't seem to be working.
No, I think there's definitely something amiss here, no pun intended. But oh, look at this. Andretti and Robinson, the battle continues. This allows Andrew Davis a run. Can he make anything work here? Jarrett defends a little bit. Watch Stavely. He's going to try and take advantage. Nowhere to go with it right now.
A little wide run, though, has given Gar Robinson some breathing room. He can put his head down now and see if he can clear these guys. Stavely is racy. Picks that throttle up early, doesn't he?
Beautiful sound.
You can hear it with him for sure. And then Tony Gaples, second in the AM class.
He is flying right now. And,
eighth overall.
I don't think Drew Stavely is going to be an easy one to get around, but that would be a battle for position right now. The back of this pack, there's that bright orange striped white and black Mustang, and there's Tony Gaples, the stealth-looking McLaren right behind him. Battle for position in the AM division.
Yep, and then right now behind Ian James is Jeff Courtney running third in AM, the local Wisconsin driver, and the Ken Direct Stuff 99 Maserati. Still third in the category.
Just inside the top five, Marco Radicic, great to see him having a strong run. And Sean Quinlan, he's been very much on form this weekend.
Yeah, Marco and that precision driving tech.
Ooh! That was a bit of a wild one.
It certainly was. That takes Stavely right off of the rear deck of Davis. Gives him a little room and is going to allow Tony Gaples to come up.
Give him some incentive.
Yeah, absolutely.
That gap was suddenly halved, I think, between Stavely and Gaples for the lead in AM.
Gar Robinson through turn 3. He was so quick, so impressive in Watkins Glen, and also raced with amazing respect when he had drivers who had on the outside spots when he could have just sort of rubbed them right off the edge of the track, always gave them racing room. And here's Jeff Courtney coming after Ian James. And that, yeah, here you go, the margin, that Stavely and Gaples, that's for the lead in AM. Boy, Stavely, that Mustang suddenly looking a bit loose.
It is, yeah. I think Tony's car is maintaining its balance a little bit longer into this run right now, so Stavely definitely vulnerable.
Good look at Robinson and Andretti.
I really think that, you know, for Gar, he just had such a strong start to the championship, led early on in the season. Then they just had that dry patch. I just think they kind of lost direction a little bit. Some of it is, you know, horses for courses in terms of the balance of performance and where it suits the Camaro. But even so, I think they went away, had that break, certainly worked for Black Belt Speed Shop in terms of then get some testing and come back stronger. But I think the team that has benefited most has been this Ranch 7014.
I think you're absolutely right. And watching this great battle, let's check in with Ryan.
I did make my way back down to Panos to see if they had any update, and it does sound like there might be something more to the story, something potentially mechanical. They're not really sure what the situation is, but they might be more down on power than they had initially thought. Something perhaps more nefarious than what they had thought. So that's definitely unfortunate news. Right now they're trying to assess the situation. We might be seeing them coming to pit lane, but no decision has been made just yet.
All right, thanks very much, Ryan. There he is, Ian, and he stays out this time. But for him right now, he's sitting 9th, and that's the points he'd get. 3rd in the points, Cooper leads. 2nd in the points, Pompelli sits 2nd. And here comes Jeff Courtney. Courtney, a big run in the Maserati.
Yeah, Ian James is just defenseless right now.
Yeah, and you know he didn't even try to move.
No.
You And that's a pretty good indicator, isn't it? So that will now move him back into 10th.
Well, I think at a certain point, once he drops out of the top 10 and is out of the points, this becomes a test session. You've got to fix it for tomorrow.
Fast lap right now at 2:19 flat by Cooper. Pumpelly at 2:19.1. And those are important because they determine where you start in tomorrow's 13th round of the championship.
Right now, as they run, I believe we would have a tie at the top of the table between Cooper and James, with Pumpelly 4 points behind.
Huge swing. If it stays like this, there's still 30 minutes to go.
Yeah.
A lot of race yet to unfold. And Lewis had closed up to inside of his second on Pumpelly, and on that last lap, Spencer was able to gap him a little bit, take it back to over, just marginally, but over a second. There's Spencer in the TRG, LaSalle Solutions, and Adobe Wine.
Fast lap so far, which sets the grid for tomorrow. Michael Cooper at 2:19 flat, followed closely by Spencer Pumpelly, I think, is next up. Ian James looking at his lap time. He's now in the 10th position. 19.7, that's probably good for about row 3 or 4, so there's no real salve to the wound right now with a good fast lap even.
Nope, not at all. And he did qualify second for this one, so it had the pace, they just don't have it now. 72 Lewis. As I said, he gets up to Pumpelly a little bit, and then Pumpelly able to gap him. Spencer doesn't seem to have an answer for that Black Dog Speed Shop. I'll get that right. McLaren here. Marco Radicic now. This is a great battle as Quinlan has slipped through, taking the 5th spot in the AM category in that blue and orange BMW, but Marco not going quietly in that PrecisionDrivingTech.com machine. Someone
went for a ride.
Yes, they did.
And Sean is really gaining a lot of confidence here. He and Gregory Lafuge are having a great run in Sprint X competition. I think that's given him confidence, and he seems to be moving further and further up the field each weekend.
It looked like Marco got a great run relative to Quinlan through 14, but it was such a good run that he had to actually check up. He couldn't just swing out and go. And as a result, wasn't quite close enough to benefit from a tow at this stage.
Obviously, there's various degrees of that rear wing angle you can run, which does affect the straightaway speed a little bit. So certainly seemed like Sean was even able to inch away a little bit with Marco right in his draft.
The Precision Driving Tech team, that's a team that has done driver coaching and arrive and drive stuff, but they've started their own product line of accessories. So big plans for the future of that team, trying to expand out with the customer program. And Marco right now having a really solid battle, working with Quinlan in that top 5.
Lewis looks strong here. Just got out shuffled a little bit on those opening couple of laps. Just couldn't really find his rhythm. He was having to defend and compromise, and people just on the attack, and out-hassled him as much as anything.
Yeah, and the other big story is Brynjolfsson, who was the pole qualifier in the AM category and needed to have a good run here up in that points battle to have any chance to stay with Staveley. Has dropped back to 4th and just hasn't had an answer at this stage.
Just past the halfway point. Gar Robinson, so around 74, have 2 cars in the top 4, but you know coming in here they felt they had a potential for a win.
Yeah, margin between Lewis and the 74 Ranch Resort entry and Robinson, about 6 seconds. So Gar's got work to do if he wants to try and close up on that group. With Andretti sitting in the 5th spot, Davis in 6th, and Staveley still leading in the AM category. And he's been able to gap Tony Gaples. Gaples was really, really close, and now he's dropped off to the tune of about 3 seconds to Staveley at this stage. Another 4.5 back to Courtney. There to Andrew.
Has a ton of seat time with this Audi R8. And just, it's like different car But it's just like a slipper, do you know what I mean? You
Right.
put it in and
Yep.
it's going to feel good to him.
Well, you know, and you look back to last year, you remember when James Sofronis had that track limit violation in qualifying that took his lap away, and then they had the red flag. He started dead last in the field of 35 cars, finished second. That Audi likes this place. It's so well balanced.
It's a great fit, that is for sure.
Yeah. And as we're watching the battle here, and we've been talking about 74 Ranch Resort, 2 cars in the top 4. They've got to be pleased to some extent, Ryan.
We'll see exactly to what extent. Jimmy Frazier joining us down here. Guys in the booth were wondering just how pleased are you? You do have 2 in the top 4, but I think you'd like to have the top 2 spots if you could.
I'd take 2 in the first, second, or podium, but we're working on it. We're just a halfway. Shane's tires didn't come up early or quick enough, but that's what. But other than that, we're doing okay. Gar's doing good. He's already moved up 2 spots, and we're staying within striking distance of the leaders.
Do you think the leaders might come to you? How are the Camaros on their tires relative to the cars you're chasing?
We're hoping, no, it should come to us. We work on the long run setup, so hopefully as the fuel gets off, and he's saving the rears. He already told me he made a run at the Porsche, but, you know, didn't want to hurt the rear, so he's just staying right there.
Seems like from the get-go, the Camaros have been awfully strong around this place. What is it that suits them so well?
The Glen and here were the same BOP, and it just suits the car. So it's working out for us. We're just lucky.
Thanks for the time as
You're
always.
welcome. Appreciate it.
He's such a great character, one of the absolute best in the paddock, and he's been associated with George Robinson in that program from back in the days when George was running Chevys and Trans Am. And just a great group of them.
I love Jimmy. I mean, there's a lot of people I really have a tremendous respect for, but he's just fun. I mean, I think he's spot on. He gets it. He understands the game. He's pretty chill, but he doesn't let that team just lose focus. All of those team members have been there for an awfully long time. There's great chemistry there. They enjoy their racing, but they're there to win. They're not there just to, okay, a podium's great. No, they want to win races.
Look at this. Gar was able to get through on Andretti, opened it up just a little bit, and Jarrett has come right back at him. And is by no means giving this one away. While we were in the interview with Ryan, Cooper lost a pretty significant chunk of time to Pumpelly. He got trapped behind Kevin Milstein going through the kink. And it was a classic example. Watch this here. He flashes the lights, and this is a classic example of a driver trying to help when he really shouldn't. Is watch what Milstein does on the exit of the kink. Cooper's setting him up to go to the inside, and Milstein tries to help.
Yeah, that's rough.
It is.
And it's such a high-stakes game through that particular corner. Very high speed. There's no margin for error there, and when you're the leader, you just can't afford to give up too much time. I mean, he doesn't need Pumpelly and Lewis all over him. Right now, Michael still kind of controls this race a little bit from the front, of course, but he doesn't want that margin shrinking anywhere. He has to start compromising his lines and compromising his lap times at the same time.
Had a good look there, by the way, for just a minute. The number 44, Kelly Moss Audi of Greg Palmer. He's back in the order just a little bit, but they've been running
Spencer there.
Yeah. Wow.
He's throwing that thing around.
I think when he got that little bit of a gift, I mean, it gave him a second and a half that he didn't have to use up. I think he's thinking, well, let's see if we can get a little closer here.
Yeah, and I spoke to him this morning, and he said, you know, we're just struggling. He said it's speed, but it's not just terminal speed. It's just acceleration up through the gears. So I think he feels if he can get that McLaren a little bit closer and start punching the hole in the air, it's such a big draft effect from the cars here that get on these long straightaways and someone's easing the flow through the air. That could be enough for Spencer to start putting some pressure on. So it's almost like he wants to get in within DRS zone if you relate it to Formula One. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
He needs to get about another half second closer, and that could be a different dynamic to this race.
Certainly pushing very hard. They all are at this stage. They have to. And for Ian James, he's sitting in the 10th spot right now, but the problem is he had a big margin back to the rest of the field. Well, Alan Brynjolfsson now is only a second back of James and is running laps about a half second faster. than Ian, so
that would knock Ian out of the points. And right now, in fact, it's a 1-point lead for Cooper as they run. A lot of people hate to say that because there's 20 minutes still on the board. But
I know.
if you threw the checkered flag right now, Cooper would leap to the front of the championship.
Yep. Here's a look at that LaSalle Solutions Racers Group car, Pirelli. You see the Racing Series. It says on the black hood of that car. It's a line of wines that Kevin Buckler's Adobe Road Winery has come up with. That
very tasty. We enjoyed some of that at the Sonoma round. Kevin was kind enough to invite some guests over to his shop and enjoy his wares. Does a first-class job with everything he does with his race team, with his wines. Got a big project going on in Petaluma, which I believe is about to break ground. So that's pretty exciting times for he and his wife Deborah and the whole family.
Yep, a big new display room and the like. And they just completed, Watkins Glen was the final round of a big swing that they set up a promotional tour for the Racing Series wines, doing a lot of big market TV and the like, and it was a huge success as well. So yeah, big things for that team. And after coming in here, and as we said, having some issues at VIR and losing some points, they've fought their way back. And with the way things are going right now, they might be right back in this championship. Spencer pushing hard there through turn 14, Cal.
Oh, very much so. It'd only be 4 points back. So it is go time in this championship. 3 to go after the checkered flag here this afternoon. Anything can happen. It's very tight up front. I love Michael Cooper, and sorry, Greg. I mean, he's just such a great racer. I mean, he's had so much success in World Challenge for every single category. He's won titles that he's competed in. And, you know, I think the beginning of the year was frustrating for him. He got the McLaren factory deal and positioned that together with the team that he's run with before, of course, with Ray Sorensen and Tony Gaples. But I think they struggled to get their arms wrapped around that McLaren chassis, but now it's coming good.
Yes. Boy, talk about good. How about this battle here? With Michael Dinan now, and the Flying Lizards Porsche has joined this scrap. And you've got Quinlan in that blue and orange BMW running in 5th. Radisek going the outside of Dinan. The Precision Driving Tech BMW in 6th. Dinan in the Lizard Porsche in 7th.
Here comes Collingwood to the mix.
Yes.
Side by side between the two Caymans. He timed that beautifully. Michael's going to have to try and get on that power a little bit sooner, straighten his hands. He should get better exit speed there.
I think he rolled into it right, and Collingwood had put that car right where Dinan was going, and he had to get out of it. But this is just a phenomenal battle. 6th, 7th in the AM category.
Yeah, that Radisek Quinlan battle has been raging. Ooh, Collingwood just missed his break point there a little bit. Nearly got in the back of Marco. Did the right thing.
That's one of those things that
abort.
At the end of the race, people have been going to Marco. Boy, that was close to what?
Yeah.
He had no clue. Oh! What happened there?
Quinlan suddenly slowed, and Marco didn't know where to go, and Dinan almost took advantage of the situation. When I say didn't know where to go, maybe didn't have anywhere to go. Quinlan's in trouble.
Yeah, something's happened here.
Seems to be falling flat.
Yeah. So Marco's through. Dinan trying to figure out a way through here. Is Marco now opening up a little bit of a margin?
Yeah, I think that suddenly caught Marco out, and he didn't have anywhere to go with it as Quinlan suddenly stalled.
Yeah, Quinlan in full defense mode right now.
That was bizarre.
Truly.
That seems like it's back up to speed.
But that's given Collingwood another run here at Dinan.
He's got some kind of shifting issue or something.
Just keeping an eye on it here, but
seems okay. So it's like something that was temporary.
It's just running very protective lines. Shallow through 14.
Seems like it's on song again.
Does now. Margin up front, Cooper over Pompelli's 3 seconds now. Lewis another 2.5 back. So Cooper able to respond every time somebody gets, Pompelli takes a little run at him. I mean, Cooper's last lap was a 2:20.1 Cal. Pompelli at 2:20.6.
Yeah, tell you what, doing a test here is a huge advantage because the problem with this race circuit being the length it is, each session you don't get a lot of laps.
Yeah, good point.
So in terms of making the right changes, like you go out, you do a couple of laps, well, time you get out and get 2 time laps, get back in, that kills 10 minutes almost, you know. So you do a test day here, you can run through a lot more stuff, sit down, make some big changes, and that can really give you a big jump on the competition. And you know, we saw in qualifying, Shane Lewis had the edge, but it seemed like Michael Cooper and Ray Sorensen and the group there have really got a solid race car over this 50-minute run.
Oh, Andretti all the way off at the exit of the kink. Beautiful job.
He's used to
I
that.
was going to say sideways in dirt with a wall alongside. That's Saturday night, dude.
No big deal. Wow. See that one kind of starting to play out before it happened even.
Yep, oh, look at this now. Steve Lee. There, they touch.
Joe's not going to give anything away easily,
No,
let me
he's
tell
not.
you.
But neither's Drew. Look at this. It's about the 3rd or 4th time they've rubbed panels here.
Yeah.
And of course, that off has allowed Davis through, and then that bit of argy-bargy, sorry, stealing your term, with Stavely has allowed Davis to get clear as well.
Davis has dropped back a little bit late in the going. I thought he could have taken advantage of this little battle that's going on. I tell you what, with Jared Andretti, unless you put him away, he's a little terrier.
He
just
is,
keeps
isn't he?
coming at you, dogged in his defense.
Well, and we've seen that. You know, you'll pass him.
Well, you
And
think
you-
you've
and you
passed
get
him, and
this-
you haven't.
Or if you have, you get that little gap and you think,
Watch
okay,
this.
I've got him clear. Watch this.
He just touched the inside curb maybe, and that just threw him out. Tough to say, but he's awfully tight on the inside of the kink there, and that may have just been enough to force him out, and then has to give way there.
Watch this. Drew getting on the hammer early, jumps to the inside. There's touch 1. That's touch 2.
Yeah.
That was fabulous stuff.
I think they'll both be smiling. I think I know them
Oh.
both well enough that they will have enjoyed that.
Absolutely. You know, it's the takeout punt thing that
Yeah.
that is what angers a driver. Well, side by side, grinding like that, that's fun. That's real racing. Nothing wrong with that. Certainly from an announcing perspective, we love it.
We love it. It's been a good one.
Yes, it has.
It's a great class this year. I mean, the sprint racing has been superb. I mean, such a depth of talent and teams and drivers. So many manufacturers involved. It's a melting pot. It really is.
The interesting thing with Stavely here, you know, that car looked loose for a while, and now it looks like it's right back on track again. I don't know whether he's just adjusted his driving, whether he's adjusted something inside the car.
Well, you may have just been overdriving, so
Yeah,
maybe
that's
the
very
balance
true.
hadn't gone away. It just looked a bit lurid there, didn't it, for a couple of laps?
Yeah, exactly. So Davis now sits in 5th, Andretti 6th, Stavely 7th overall, leading AM. And here's your leaders overall, Cooper. And that margin just as he's got it right at about 3 seconds. And you were talking about Cooper, and I just love watching him drive. You know, and I've often talked about when you can find speed at the start of a race when your tires aren't there, that's the sign of something. But what'll stick with me now forever is when at Long Beach we were talking with Pat Long when he came into the booth with us, and he raced against Cooper in the GT3 category, obviously.
Yep.
That year when Cooper teamed up with
Johnny O.
Johnny O and the like, and Pat said, "This guy's mega," and I think Cooper just continues to prove that.
Yeah, I think Cooper, by teaming up, maybe you're talking about Ricky Taylor that he was running
Yes.
Sprint X competition with.
Yeah, because they won the Sprint X championship. The other Taylor teaming with Johnny, but yeah, exactly. Pat just has big respect for Cooper, as he does others, but he just made a point of that, and I thought that was.
Well, I think
A guy like Pat makes a comment like that. You listen.
Well, I think with Michael Cooper, he's one of those drivers that has shown immense talent since we've been seeing him. and he had the opportunity with GM and the Cadillac program went away. You'd hate to feel, and not that this is not a high level of racing, but I think he can go on to even bigger and better things. And I think there's other drivers out there who rate his talent very highly. And I think his time will come. I mean, he's in a great group. Tony Caples loves him. The team loves him. It's a great operation. He certainly gets some good opportunity, maybe even on the global stage with the McLaren, which would be wonderful to see him spread his wings a little bit.
Well, all he's done in every category he's raced in World Challenge, SRO competition, is win a title.
Yep.
You know, I mean,
that
speaks
right?
volumes, yeah.
That should be the,
exactly.
the business card right there. Okay, well, Jimmy Fraser said we should be good on the long run. Certainly, Shane has got equal pace. Can he find any advantage here with 10 minutes to go?
Last laps, they both ran 2:20.6. What do they do this time? Pirelli 2:31.3, 2:20.9. That's the first time now that margin's been under 2 seconds for a few laps.
Yeah, so Lewis is not quicker than Cooper right now, but he is a bit quicker than the man he's chasing, Spencer Pumpelly.
And a bit of a margin back to Robinson, some 6 seconds or thereabouts. And Davis, Andretti, Stavely. At this cue here.
Really solid run by Andrew Davis.
And I'll tell you, now Robinson, Davis is closing up on him a little bit, isn't he?
Last lap was half a second.
Yeah.
This could get tasty.
Well, and if Andrew catches him and they start racing, that's going to let Andretti and Stavely right back in. Continue to see just those little, and a couple of the cameras out there.
It's definitely threatening.
Yes.
It's really dark about 2 hours ago here. Through the paddock just to try and catch up with some of the drivers after qualifying. Looking at the skies, it's like you thought it had to rain, but it just seems to be just hovering around but not hitting us.
This big old body of water just off to the east of us here has strange effects on the weather around here. Oh boy, Davis getting through the carousel there very well, closing it up even more.
That sounds cool.
It does.
Throw the V8 down through the kettle bottoms, as they call this area of the racetrack, deep in the Canada corner. By the way, congratulations, May, on the Grand Marshal here at this racetrack.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
a few weeks ago for the June sprints.
Yeah, it was an absolute surprise and complete honor. That was very special. Had a lot of fun.
You've brought a lot to the sport, mate. I know you've been a keen corner worker, particularly at this racetrack over the years.
Yeah, absolutely.
You love your racing, and you bring a lot of joy to the fans, so you deserve that.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. You're in large part responsible for it because we've worked together an awful lot over those years. So if I've delivered that, you've been by my side for most of it. So thank you.
It's been fun. We continue to enjoy it, and got race racing to typically cover, so
that's for sure.
Makes it easy.
Yep.
Okay, who's got who?
Well, Davis is definitely making inroads here. Last lap, he again ran 0.3 quicker than Robinson. He's got that down to half a second.
Yeah, never closer, isn't he? Yeah. Camaro's got a big old silhouette to punch you through the air, so.
It's interesting the different engine notes of those V8s, isn't it? Because the Ford V8 sounds raspy, rattly almost.
Yeah. More throaty.
Yeah. And a lot of that's just the exhaust symmetry. Boy, Davis right there now. This is where that Audi should be really good.
It should be a strong sector for Andrew through that sector 2.
Here's Cooper.
Just hear the little feathering of the throttle there through the.
Here he comes.
Through the carousel, traffic up ahead, but not under immediate threat from Spencer, who still sits just over 3 seconds back. And it seems like Cooper's maintained that, managed that effectively.
got through that time pretty cleanly here. And that's the biggest thing, is you don't want to get stuck and then have to follow somebody all the way from 12 to 14.
You lose some big chunks of time in traffic here. So.
Yes, you can.
And again, when you got 3 seconds, there's less panic. So you think, okay, I can even afford to lose 1.5 seconds, and the guy's not going to be right on my heels. When you got a second lead, it's like, if I make the wrong choice here,
yeah,
I could be defending for the lead.
I think Spencer may have been balked just a little bit more. Look at these lap times. Cooper comes through, turns to 2:31.3. Spencer, yeah, 2:22, and that margin it jumps to over.
Here comes Shane Lewis.
Yep, Spencer really got blocked.
Spencer just throws that Porsche in deep.
This has big points implications for Spencer.
It really does. Right now it'd be a 4-point margin to Cooper. A couple of points on the board right here if Shane can get around him.
And what is it from second to third? It's 3 points, isn't it? It's 18 to 15.
That's right. You're right. It's 3 points, 18 to 15. Yeah.
You gotta hang on for 4.5 more minutes. With the rodeo rider right on your tail.
Yeah, well, Jimmy Fraser called it. He said the car should be good at the end, and Shane was talking to him, just saying, I'm trying to control the pace and manage these rear tires. Don't want to burn them off.
Yep.
It's going to be a stretch to get to Cooper, but right now, definitely that runner-up position is in Shane Lewis's sights.
Yeah, and here's the deal. Pumpelly on that lap, when he got held up by Milstein, turned a 2:22 flat. He'd been running in the low 2:21s and high 2:20s. Lewis turned a 2:20.4. And that 2.5 margin is gone.
He committed to the power, and yeah, he just run out of. He just pinch that steering a little bit, loosens up the rear. Shane's definitely putting all on the line now.
Indeed.
No point in saving now.
Sportsmanship flag for Andretti and Stavely.
I think I was hard racing.
I don't think it was unsportsmanlike, but I suppose just to. Let's put it this way, it's a warning that was fine, don't take it any further.
I think it should be, that was a bit too sporty.
Yeah, exactly. Excessive sportiness. There you go. All right, well, so it looks like we've got 2 more laps to go. And for Cooper, that margin last time by was 4.1. See what he puts up now. Yeah, it's down a little bit, but he knows he's got a little bit of room.
Big lap for Pumpelly there. He dug deep.
Yeah, he did. 220.5 to Lewis's 220.9. Spencer needed that.
These are critical moments in a championship season.
Yep.
Critical lap or 2 for Spencer Pumpelly. Grab those 3 points, as you said, which is the delta between second and third.
And it's a 50-minute sprint race. And 50 minutes doesn't sound that long, but when you're in the middle of some huge battle in here, this is the end of the race when you're at your most fatigue, etc. This is when you just got to be in shape and execute, and these guys are.
Yeah, for sure. Spencer's avid runner. He's a student of the game, and he's got a great partnership with Kevin Buckler and the TRG group. Got a big group of supporters from LaSalle Solutions here this weekend. Great place to bring and entertain clients and partners with your race programs. It's a special racetrack, but a special area. So hats off to Kevin for making this the location of choice.
Look at this, still close. Robinson hanging on, Davis attacking in the silver Audi, and Andretti ready, given any opportunity, and then Stavely just keeping everybody honest. Stavely's got a big margin back now to Courtney Brynjolfsson.
I don't think he's
James runs 11th, by the way.
I think Stavely's just going to sit there.
I think that's smart.
Consolidate that championship lead. 63 points coming in. Be close to a clinch.
Yeah, that's what I was saying with Brynjolfsson 4th. It'd be hugely foolish to take a risk to try and move up overall. All right. Here comes Cooper. Should be picking up the white flag this time. It's the 44 Audi of Palmer up in front of him. Cooper and then Pumpelly. White flag, 1 to go.
Thinking about that Stavely situation, he may just have enough.
Yeah,
Should be a 13-point added to the 63. It'll be 76. Doing the math in my head here, 75-point needed.
Yep.
To clinch.
Cooper's let that margin drift. That was a 2:22 flat. It's down to 2 seconds.
I think he's controlling it to a certain degree.
I think so, but boy.
Don't forget that battle for second in the AM class. Tony Caples is only 6 points back of Alan Brynjolfsson.
Yeah.
And there's two positions up the road, so that's going to be a 6-point swing. So they could be tied.
Wow. Yeah, what a weekend for Tony so far. All right. Davis suddenly just not able to quite stick with Gar.
For Jared Andretti, he's just thinking position. He's just a born racer, and he's just going to go for every position he can. So expect him, if he sees an opportunity to go for on this final lap.
Down through turn 8 one last time, heading toward the carousel. Here's your top 3. Boy, and Spencer's been able to just run laps a couple tenths quicker than Lewis on his last few laps. That's exactly what he needed to do.
This will be a huge win for this team.
Yes.
As we said, the local team, they got so many great team personnel. Rick Wrightsides, who worked on my Atlantic team way back when in the 80s, is part of that group. Timmy Coffin, who had so much success with the Newman Haas IndyCar team when they were based here locally. And you bet that a lot of their family are friends here this weekend, so this will be a big win for them.
You bet. Canada corner on the brakes. The Black Duck Speed Shop McLaren. Michael Cooper heading up to the Billy Mitchell Bridge. Well, where it used to be, now just the Billy Mitchell turn. And one last time through turn 14. As you would expect, hits his marks clean as can be, gives himself a little margin on the exit. There's Pumpelly. There is Shane Lewis. Up the hill we go. And at home at Road America, Black Dog Speed Shop, Michael Cooper and McLaren. Big win at Road America. Pumpelly in second. It's the crew celebrating, and Lewis through for third. So Cooper and Pumpelly come in here third and second in the points, and the guy that leads the points, Ian James, looks like he'll finish in the 11th spot. That's no points.
Out of the points.
That's huge.
Unofficially, it'll be a 2-point lead for Cooper over James. 2 points back to Pumpelly. Game on in this championship.
Boy, isn't it though? And Stavely comes through with the win in AM, 7th overall. Gaples second. Fabulous run. Courtney and Brynjolfsson have yet to finish, but if they finish in that order, as you said, Stavely should clinch.
Great local stories. Courtney getting a podium run.
Yeah. Well, look at this battle still raging. Quinlan, Dynan, Collingwood. Oh no, something happened with Marco Radisek after that great battle. He's dropped back. He's a number of laps down. So something went amiss.
Oh, big run by Dynan. Quinlan's in trouble through the final corner.
It's a drag race up the hill. Can Dynan get any kind of a tow? Quinlan looks like he was able to save it just enough, and he will hang on to the 5th spot in the AM category after a battle that was just superb with Dynan, Collingwood, and Radisek. Not sure what happened with Marco, as he drifted back a bit. But boy, everywhere we looked in this one, we had good battles.
We did. It's fabulous racing. It really is.
Yeah. This class has just delivered this year, hasn't it?
It's high quality stuff. It really is. The GT4 cars are so cool because the cars can follow closely. They generate good downforce, but not as sensitive as to their bigger brothers, the GT3 cars. So the racing is just going to be better because they can jockey around in close proximity and not be getting that aero wash.
Yeah, they've just put on a great show, and it's been a delight, and it's nice. We've got some serious for the overall, the Pro-Am, the championship going in here now.
Why am I still hot then?
To these final 2 rounds. And, oh, and there's Radisek. Looks like there's some damage to that left rear, possibly. What a shame. He had such a good run going. He's going to limp it in, but boy, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, fierce competitor.
Yes, he is.
Loves his racing.
All right. Michael Cooper enjoying this long cool-down lap. Here's a look at the provisional results. Again, if it's the number's got a white background, it's one of the pro drivers. If it's red, it's Am. And there you can see Stavely and Gaples. And Stavely, we think, may have clinched it.
I think so, by a point, but all unofficial.
Yeah. And then Gaples with that second, and Brynjolfsson with that fourth. They might be tied for second, so they've got lots to fight for, with 3 rounds left, including tomorrow's second double, a part of the doubleheader here, and then the season finale. And that battle up at the sharp end here couldn't be closer now in the points. And for Michael Cooper, this was mega.
It was. He just got up on the wheel, was aggressive when he needed to be. Got that track position around Shane Lewis, our pole sitter, early. It's Jack Baldwin, who's had so much success in this form of competition over the years, now our series class manager for the GT4 category. Does a great job working with the teams and listening. I think that's the key with that position, is listening to what the key teams want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Jack's been a great addition to this championship, no question. Michael Cooper just savoring the moment here.
He's a big boy squeezing that car.
He is. He climbs out. That helmet's going to come off here. A little breezy out there apparently as well.
The only thing that's not under control today is the hat.
Is the hat. So yeah, great job. Spencer sitting there, that blue car in second. There's Andretti. So you look at it. And if Stavely's clinching that number 12, you know, game on for the rest of the season and overall runs, that's for sure. Let's get down to Ryan. I think Coop's ready.
Well, congratulations all around Ray Sorensen comes to pat Michael Cooper on the back. A big win here at Road America from a championship perspective. We can talk about that in a moment. I want to talk about that first lap. How did you get to the lead?
You know, I'm always pretty good on cold tires, and I think I got around the panos on the start. I got a pretty good run into turn 1, and then I just battled Shane the whole way down to like turn 6. I got him, but he was defending really hard. You know, he told me before the race this is his last weekend, so he was going to be fighting hard. So he fought me really, really hard, maybe borderline what's legal and what's not, down to 3 and 5, but ultimately I got him. And then, you know, I had like a 2 or 3 second gap by the end of the first lap. So I was able to set a qualifying time for tomorrow real easy without any pressure from behind. And I think we're on the pole for tomorrow. But I mean, these Black Dog Speed Shop guys have been working super hard. I can't even tell you how much Watkins Glen was a struggle for us with all kinds of myriad of issues. And you know, to reward them with a win at their home track. I'm not sure if it's a team first or not here at Road America. It's definitely my first. I've always had speed here, but you know, just for a variety of reasons, never got the results. So I'm super happy.
Well done.
Thank you. And you said from a championship perspective, where did the panos finish?
11th, I believe. So big one. We think you're in the lead right now.
Oh, it's amazing how the tides can turn in this championship.
Well done.
Boy, that grin after that message from Ryan told it all, didn't it? Here's a look at that start. There's Cooper as he got a great jump as James dropped back a little bit. And then look to that inside that popped out here.
Just smart though. I mean, it would have been really forceful to try and fill that gap that Shane was leaving. Same thing down here. But then he just times this perfectly. And you could sense that once he got alongside, he was just going to be later on the brakes, get that position and try and control it.
Yeah, when they got him to 6 here, he just deeped it in enough and parked Lewis. And that was the lead that he would never lose. And Pirelli was able to eventually get through as well. And a great battle throughout much of the race here. And this big moment for Jared Andretti as he ran it wide at the kink, gathered it up and let Andrew Davis through. And just some fabulous battling. And then the number 12 of Drew Stavely right there, the AM leader, watching it unfold. And as it turned out, he ended up, we think, clinching the championship but he did it through some aggressive racing here at Road America.